The Bush administration seemed to have made this massive strategic error almost unthinkingly. There is a report that a few months before the invasion, President Bush met with 3 Iraqi exiles and appeared unaware that Iraq contained within it Sunnis and Shias. An Arab leader confirmed to me that in his meetings with the president, it was clear that Bush did not even understand there was a difference between the two sects. Others in the administration, better informed, were convinced that the Shia would be pluralists and Democrats. Those of us who warned of these dangers at the time were dismissed as pessimists. So if we're trying to understand why we see a Sunni-Shia battle unfolding across the Middle East, keep in mind that the primary cause is not that the Obama administration did not intervene in Syria, it is that the Bush administration did in Iraq. Let me suggest that the single greatest burden for the violence and tensions across the Arab world right now lies with the president, though not President Obama. And it lies with an American foreign policy that was not too passive, but rather too active and interventionist in the Middle East. The invasion and occupation of Iraq triggered what has become a regional religious war in the Middle East. Let me explain how specifically. From March through June of 2003, in the first months of the occupation of Iraq, the Bush administration made a series of catastrophic decisions. It authorized the disbanding of the Iraqi army in toto and signed on to a policy of de-Baathification, which meant that anyone in Iraq who had been a member of the top 4 levels of the Ba'ath Party, the ruling party under Saddam Hussein, would be barred from holding any government job. This meant that tens of thousands of bureaucrats, school teachers, hundreds of thousands of soldiers, almost all of whom were Sunni, were thrown out of work, angry, dispossessed, and many of them armed. This meant the collapse of the Iraqi state and of political order, but it also meant the rise of a sectarian struggle that persists to this day. The Bush administration went to war in Iraq to spread democracy, but in fact it spread sectarianism, displacing the Sunni elite who had long ruled the country and replacing it with a hardline Shia religious set of parties that used their newfound power to repress the Sunnis, just as they had been repressed. Prime Minister Maliki of Iraq has been utterly unwilling to share power with the Sunnis, who comprise about 20% of Iraq, and that has driven them into opposition, extremism, and terrorism. During the surge, he made several promises to change his ways, but over the last few years, he has reneged on every one of them. This sectarian power struggle is the origins of the civil war that has been ongoing in Iraq for 11 years. It is the cancer that has spread beyond Iraq into other countries from Syria to Lebanon.